Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you for your service. Thank you for your strong backing for the men and women of the Foreign Service and for the entire State Department team. Appreciate all that you're doing on their behalf. And I do want to just second the remarks made by some of my colleagues, which you've underscored, which is we need all our players on the playing field. It makes no sense and undermines our interests every day that we do not have ambassadors on post at places around the world, over 20 of them where China has an ambassador, we don't. But just in general, to represent the values and interests of the United States. So it is, it's a dereliction of duty, in my view, that we're not moving these men and women through the process. You mentioned our ambassador in Gabon, and I think she's representative of the great ambassadors that we have around the world. Just to underscore a couple points that you've made and my colleagues have made. First of all, in terms of engaging our NATO and European partners and East Asian partners in support of both our efforts to defend Ukraine against Putin, but also to counter China's efforts to support Russia and Putin in the war machine, not with direct arms transfers, but supporting the military-industrial base. Thank you for your efforts to have a collective initiative with our European partners. I know we need to do more, and I know you're working on that in terms of sanctions on Chinese firms there. Finally, across the global South, you can't beat something with nothing. As you say, you know, we don't ask everybody to choose between the United States and China. We ask them to look at what we both have to offer. We have a lot to offer in terms of our open system, transparency, accountability, investment, but we are not fully engaging in terms of the economic front. DFC is a critical tool. Look, I support our military efforts in Africa, China, but my view is that we're probably overweighted there and underweighted when it comes to these other areas of competition. Now, some parts of the world don't need our direct public investment. They don't need a subsidy. They don't need the DFC. And that includes Saudi Arabia, some of the Gulf countries like the UAE. And I just was 2 weeks ago on a trip that included stops in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. In Saudi Arabia, I met with the Crown Prince. I also met with the Minister of Communications, Abdullah Al-Swawa. He mentioned that he'd had a very productive meeting with you. And then in the UAE, you know, lots of interest in moving forward in this partnership between G42 and Microsoft. So I want to go back a little bit to the question that Senator Murphy raised, Senator Booker really alluded to. On the one hand, we definitely want to be the players of choice when it comes to investment in high tech, right? It was very clear, both the Saudis and the folks in the UAE, they want to engage first and foremost with U.S. companies because of U.S. technological expertise. On the other hand, we do want to make sure that our partners are not, you know, transferring important technological secrets to China and others. Can you, you know, look through that lens a little bit, Saudi Arabia and UAE, and tell me how we would balance those competing interests?
First of all, thank you, Senator. I agree with the value proposition. And I think in many respects, it really comes down, if I can be so direct, to the nature of the negotiation. And we need to understand that what we are putting on the table in each of these relationships is extraordinarily valuable. It is our technological prowess, which is unmatched in most of these areas in AI and the like. We are the leader, and we will continue to be, and there is a huge advantage to work more closely with an American firm. Secondly, our security engagement is stabilizing and important to a number of these countries. And so recognizing that in any set of engagements that are around the future of our relationship, we probably have the ability to be quite direct about what our expectations are and then follow through on that. And so I'm very much of the view to explore and deepen these partnerships, But yes, there has been a tendency in the past to basically seek to have it both ways in certain circumstances. When it comes to these fundamental issues that are so important to American strategic purpose, we have to be unambiguous about this. They're going to have to make some choices.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.